We've all been thinking about Haiti this week. We've been praying for the people of Haiti this week, watching unspeakable, horrifying images flash on our TV screens. CNN had pictures of missing people on their homepage as I was looking at their website, and I simply stared at them for a while. There was a boy about Simon's age, smiling. A woman in her 60s, brown hair mixed with gray, warm, caring eyes. There was a young man with headphones in his ears, listening to music. And there was a young couple, an old couple, a black couple, a white couple. I simply stared at the photos for a long time. I'm always caught by the pictures, the human faces, people just like you and me and the people we all know and love. I wondered if the young boy liked trains. My boy likes trains. I wonder about the woman with the caring eyes. Who has she cared for over her blessed years? Who has been blessed by the gift of her life? I wonder what music the young man has blasting in his ears. Hip-hop? A gangster rap? Does he listen because it's just what everybody does? Or does he listen because the music makes a statement about living in an imperfect world and it keeps him alive on the inside? The young couple looks like they share love that's fresh and new. I wonder about their hopes. Do they hope for the big house with the big yard? Do they hope for children someday? I wonder what they fight about. They fight about doing the dishes, squeezing the toothpaste from the wrong side of the tube. I wonder about the older couples. What have they experienced? What stories have they lived? What stories have they told? The American Red Cross estimates that 3.5 million people have been directly affected by this earthquake. Over 1/3 of Haiti's population, somewhere between 50,000 to 100,000 people, are believed dead. All beautiful lives, filled with joy and laughter, people and relationships, love and hopes, dreams. These are lives sprinkled with their fair share, if not more, of brokenness and struggle too. The beauty and gift and mystery of life was there for all of them, and then it ended tragically far too early. We live with questions at a time like this. Sometimes they are angry questions. Questions either don't have answers or they don't have good ones. Questions like, why did this have to happen in Haiti, of all places? A big earthquake isn't good anywhere, but it's a nightmare in the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere. Couldn't Haiti catch a break for once? There are other questions too, like, how did we let it come to this? How can we and our leaders tolerate so many people being so poor and so vulnerable? Why didn't we notice this before? If we did, why wasn't something done? We send our cries and our prayers out into the embrace of God, trusting that our loving intention, joined with the hopes and prayers of so many others, is powerful in ways that are beyond our understanding. Though we will never know how, we dare to trust that these prayers of intercession make a difference. We search for words of comfort and signs of hope and goodness. Psalm 46 might be a place to start. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear. Though the earth should change, though the mountains shake in the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble with its tumult. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of the city. It shall not be moved. God will help it when the morning dawns. The nations rage, dominions totter. God speaks, the earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Israel is our refuge. I've taken a measure of comfort from our gospel story from John this week. As I read it, I thought, oh, this is more about the incarnation. The water isn't just water now that Jesus is around. It's wine. It's something more. There is nothing that is simply ordinary. There is nothing that is without God. God is in the water, making it more than it is. God is in the bonds that hold us together as human beings, making what holds us together more powerful than we thought possible. God is in the midst of the struggle and the rubble, in the hearts crying and weeping, in the hearts risking their lives to save those they love, in the thousands of people risking their lives for perfect strangers because they know it's right. Or maybe even because they've lived the story of Jesus for so long that this is what they must do. God is there in Haiti, even grieving and moving and working in ways that we may be able to see clearly someday. God is using the technology we've created to knit us together as one people, even though we live thousands of miles apart. We've welcomed the faces and voices of thousands of suffering people into our homes and living rooms, and we've seen ourselves in them, and our hearts have changed, and we've reached for our wallets, and we vowed to help in some small way. Or perhaps we've made a pledge to enjoy the precious days we have to live, to enjoy the precious people we are fortunate enough to share our lives with. I've already had some conversations with people in our churches who want to find a way to go to Haiti and help in any way they can. And as I sat in these conversations, I was inspired by this passionate need to help, to give, to serve. It inspired me enough to pull me away from my relentless focus on my trivial needs and problems. I don't know where these conversations will lead, but I have a feeling they're going to lead some members of our churches and communities to Haiti, eventually, to help and give and learn. It's also comforting to me that Martin Luther King Day is tomorrow. It's a reminder that the world can change, that we can change as people. We can find ways to come together, get past our differences, let go of our prejudices, and work on healing the suffering of our neighbor. I've read Martin Luther King's letter from Birmingham jail a few times over the past few weeks. I'd encourage you to Google it and read it in full sometime over the next couple days if you get a chance. In this letter, he has a lot to say about the church that is just as true now as it was in 1963. But I find this letter helpful because of the call he gives to the church and the urgency behind that call. King calls us to be extremists for love. One thing a crisis reminds us is that human beings are capable of great love and courage. And the Spirit invites us, through the prophets of the Scriptures and the prophets of all of history, to live with great love and courage wherever we are. I'm going to read a few snippets of this letter that have something to say not just about the civil rights movement, but about our time, and I think all that's been heavy on our hearts this week too.